Chaordic, right? There's a bit of jargon for you. Chaordic. It's the chaos and order. This bloke called D. Hock stuck them together, created this thing called Chaordic. And the belief is that if we're dealing with humans, which most people in this room are, that's why we're here, it's inherently unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen. And the more you control a group of humans, the more unsuccessful you are in terms of getting the best out of them. That's really the bottom of it. So, but we've been practicing control for a long time. I know when I went to school, that's how I felt. Someone telling me what to think, and then if I could repeat back to them what they told me to think, I got a really high grade. I wasn't very good at learning that way. But it's not just in our schools. It's in many, many places now. And the response to being controlled is either revolution, which often results in lots of people getting hurt, or it's apathy, which is I don't even bother to turn up. Why would I vote? I can't change anything anyway. They're not listening. Right? Or why would I go to that meeting? Why would I go to that community conversation? Nothing's going to change anyway. So I feel like we've been experimenting with this control thing for the last 150 years, and it just ain't cutting it, essentially. Just ain't cutting it. So now it's like, okay, but that means we have to do something a little different. And if you're like me and you've been raised and trained by, in control, my dad was a naval engineer. We used to have fascinating conversations at the dinner table when I got older. Right? He helped build nuclear submarines, and I was just like budding social. Listening to Billy Bragg growing up, if you know who Billy Bragg is. Alright? Fascinating. So, but if you've been raised in, I was raised, this is how you get shit done. This is how you get stuff done. You control it and you manage it and you put timelines and you put, your milestones, and then you deliver on your milestones. And if you don't deliver on your milestones, you've done a bad job, right? But when you start saying, well, that isn't actually a very successful model because things are inherently unpredictable anyway, and you can't run a group of humans like you run a machine, then you've got to let some chaos in. Now the trouble with that is that it's against everything I was raised with. So it's like, things are going to be chaotic, so how do we work with it? They're just going to be chaotic. And the chaos that we're experiencing, right, it's not just in our families anymore or in our communities. It's like London's burning. Greece is on the edge of economic 10 days before it's bankrupt. This is the chaos we're in right now. Isn't just, we're not playing games anymore. This isn't a nice theory. Yeah. So it's like, how do we work with that? Now we definitely can't control it. And that's what the out of hosting's about for me. But the bottom line, it's like, how do we create the conditions for human beings to come together and solve their own problems without any one person telling them how to do it? That's the challenge I think we're faced with. Because I don't think any one person can figure it out, because it's just gone too crazy around us. It's just gone too crazy. So that's the challenge we're faced with. And the deeper challenge behind that is we're getting together people who traditionally don't agree, don't get on, or have spent their lives deliberately being in competition and disagreement with each other. Right? So that's the challenge. That's the challenge we're all faced with, because we've kind of organized ourselves into our areas of expertise, whether that's community change, or we're working on this project in Halifax, the Strategic Urban Partnership, and I think it's a great example of this, of how do we transform our urban core? But it demands that developers, small businesses, community organizations, environmental organizations, planners, all come together and start figuring it out, because everybody wants a vibrant urban core in this city. Everybody wants an urban core that just is thriving. But it demands that all the people that want it get together and start figuring out how to do it. And that's not easy, because we spent our lives thinking the other person's the enemy. Oh, it's the developers, or it's those environmental organizations, or it's this, whatever it is. So it's there's something about these times that's demanding we get beyond all of that to be able to actually respond to what's needed. And the art of hosting, for me, is an experiment in how to do that. What's the minimum order we can put in place so multiple conflicting perspectives can come together, have meaningful conversations, and deliver on the challenges that none of us know how to solve? None of us, not on our own. Because they're just too complicated, they're too complex, they're too challenging, and they're too downright scary for one person to hold, or one organization to hold, or one perspective to hold. And I'm not saying the art of hosting is the answer. I'm just saying it's one of many, many experiments that human beings are working on right now on the planet to try and understand this. And the one thing I know is that, I love what you said, conversations leverage change. When people can come together, be in conversations that matter, and then the quality of action begins to change. We're not just doing the same thing we've always done, because we've taken into account a perspective that wasn't part of my thinking beforehand. That's what I had to add.
Thank you.
It's beautiful.